Welcome back to our latest episode of Offbeat Adventures. We're standing again on the grade of the former Canadian Northern Railway and later Canadian National Railways Dorion and then subsequently Kinghorn subdivisions. We're here in Pearl, Ontario. We're just right beside what is known as Road 5 South in Pearl, and you can see the grade kind of going back to the east in front of me. And so what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be working our way to the west here and then eventually south and covering this section here that runs close to Pearl Station. It's about a couple of mile section. We're not going to be doing the whole thing down to Pearl. We're going to be coming back and doing that, and I'm going to be explaining that to you once we actually get to our stopping point today. There's a reason why we're not going the whole route. So our first stop is actually coming up like right here. And so we do have a culvert, or actually our first culvert. And so you can see that there is a marker here. So let me just stow the bike and then we'll go and take a look. It is a very, very crisp April morning. It's about -1. So if I'm reading this right, it says 161.7. And so that would work out to be on, so that is the mileage on the Kinghorn. And so for the original Canadian Northern Nipigon subdivision and for the Dorion subdivision, we actually have to subtract 49.7 miles because they had a different starting point. They didn't start at Long Lac, they started at Jellicoe. And so that works out to be, I believe, 112. So milepost 112 on those lines. So as we slowly work our way down and try not to kill ourselves. So what we have here is we have one of the old style concrete segmented culverts. It looks like this one's starting to run into a little bit of trouble because you can actually see some of the water is flowing around the outside of the culvert and not a ton is coming through the inside. The inside actually looks like it's in pretty good shape. There's a bit of sag there in the middle, but again, that is not a good sign when the water is kind of flowing around the side of it. We do have some traces here. Just notice this. So there is a piece of fish plate connector here for the rails. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hop back up on the grade, and we're just going to keep pushing west. Okay, so before we leave this culvert behind, further to what we were just looking at, so you'll notice that there is a little sinkhole that's starting to form here on the top of the grade as a result of that water kind of flowing around the culvert. All right. Now, one of the things that you're going to see on this section is there are a number of remnants of the railway, and the first one is coming up here in a second. I'm just kind of looking at my GPS and making sure I'm in the right spot here. Yeah, there it is. So we do have the remains of a telegraph pole right down here. It's gonna be hard for me to kind of go this way and take a look. So you can basically see the two cross beams. It looks like all of the insulators are gone. So there's a bunch of telegraph poles. There's some signs left on this section. I find it very interesting that particularly with things like the poles, it's very, very hit and miss. Like some sections you'll see a whole bunch of them, and then other sections you won't see any. Right? So it just very, very random. Now the last time I was through here, this is kind of a redo. I was actually through here last spring, but this is before we started kind of biking the grade. And then I was actually through here a couple of days ago. I came out here with Luna. It had been raining for a couple of days, and I just wanted to kind of get out and kind of go for a walk. And so I ended up here, and my short little walk ended up turning into about a 6-kilometer walk. And so there's another telegraph pole coming up here somewhere. There it is up there. So maybe we'll jump off and take a look at this one here. Again, I doubt that there's anything. I doubt that there's anything left on it. This section seems to be very picked over. Yeah, there's nothing. Not a single insulator left on there. Usually you'll find them in the quote-unquote boring ones are left on there, the clear Dominion 42s, but those seem to all be picked over. All right, so we'll keep plugging our way west here. We got a first of numerous rock cuts coming up in a few seconds here. All right, so back on the bike here. Again, a beautiful morning here. A little bit crisp. There doesn't seem to be too much wind. We've had a bunch of beautiful days after some really lousy days. When I was here a few days ago, there was actually water in here, and it seems to all dried up, and some of the little bits of snow have gone. So here you can see this rock cut that we're going through on both sides. You'll notice the nature of the rock here, and we're going to see this. We've seen this before in other sections. We're going to see this a lot kind of as we push kind of west into the south of here, as we skirt the ridges of the Sibley Peninsula. You see basically this very soft shale-like rock, red in color, and basically that is the mineral content in there oxidizing. And so you can kind of see it stretch on. Again, very soft. It's not a very common type of rock that you see in here, this area. There's a spike. Lots of remnants on here. Lots of spikes and things like that. So here the rock cut starts to peter out a little bit. Here we can see what's left of a tie. Okay, so we're going to be approaching this this next section here, which is a fairly long, straight section. And so we're going to just keep pushing along here. One of the things I should mention is that if you haven't tuned in, take a look at my one of my other video series called Extra Credit, which is a series where I talk about topics. I haven't talked about the Kinghorn yet, but I talk about some of the stuff that some of the gear and stuff that I use for hiking. There's a telegraph pole down here. You can see what's left of it. You can see the top end of the pole, and again, looks like everything's kind of picked clean on it. So as I was saying, I talk about some of the gear that I use today, because we're not doing anything particularly crazy. I have my just wearing a backpack, and in the off season I did buy a new helmet. So I have a couple biking helmets. I leave one at home and I keep one at quote-unquote camp. For those of you who know what camp is what we call cabins or cottages up here in northwestern Ontario. And the helmet's a little bit bigger, and there's a strap on the backpack here, or the pack sack as we call it up here. It keeps catching on the back of my helmet. It's kind of driving me crazy. So we do have a culvert here. I don't think you can read the marker. I think it says 161, but I can't read the rest of it. And then you can see it's just kind of a boring metal culvert. And we're up on the top of this embankment. You can see there's a piece of a tie here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to jump back up on the bike, and you can see we have this long kind of straight stretch ahead of us. We're going to be coming up to a level crossing pretty soon, and we'll take a look at that. And so we'll just keep plugging away.